Hey, welcome to the Line War. Today we have Metalcalous as blue and Haako as red. Both have opted for an airfield to start with. Metalcalous looks like he's building helicopters and he's going for naval. He's trying to transport across the water. I assume he knows Haako wants to start in a central location because this is generally more strategic. However, Metalcalous may be taking advantage of that, so he doesn't know. Well, so Haako doesn't know where Metalcalous is. So, he's going to try and cut across the water for a surprise attack. Maybe. I might be overthinking this. But by the looks of it, the way he's positioned himself, it's a decent location, but it's on the edge of the map. And most people like to be in the centre of the map, because that way, Haako has control of most of the map right at the beginning. Especially this large chunk of land, which will be a good eco boost later on. And down here. But Metalcalous has gone over here, kind of situating himself in a very tight corner of the map. So he's not going to be able to get that big eco boost as the game progresses. Territory is something that sort of slowly builds up over time. And what's Haako doing with his airfield? He's building helicopters as well. So we've got a pretty similar game plan, but we have tanks on the battlefield already. Haako's building maybe a little early tank rush for a bit of scouting to find Metalcalous. But he's had to use a power plant, so it looks like he hasn't got any energy. But he does, he's got one there, but that's possibly quite risky, and he maybe didn't have that from the start of the game. And he knew he needed his tanks early so he could scout the map. So we've got just infantry running around, taking some territory. They're assessing the area, trying to gather the territory they know they've got control over. Metalcalous is sneaking over. So Haako now knows that Metalcalous is doing this, or at least if he can see it, he does. Which if he does, it won't take him too long to respond. But Metalcalous does know that Haako is here. We're not seeing any response from Haako right now, I don't think, unless... Oh yeah, he's bringing something over. Yeah, he's put one unit there, or these units there, to stop this territory being taken. He's got his air units coming in. Try and take out the units that are here. There we go, we can see him coming out. What does Metalcalous see? And because of this, Metalcalous is moving his units away. He's going to a different part of the land. He's going to try and take over there. He actually has... Oh, he's got anti-air C unit there. Missile ship. Looks like he successfully took it out. But he's got more units coming in over here, and I think he's going to spot that pretty quickly. And he's got his helicopters coming in now, yep. They're not taking off though, I think they might be out of range. Yeah, we can see the blue here, so Haako can see that Metalcalous is dominantly here. And this is where he's actually walking through. He tried to cross the water, so he knows he's got water units. Key point to note that he isn't panicking, bringing all his units back over this way, which is probably something I might have done a few times in the past. But he's making use of his tanks now. Doesn't have too much energy production. So he might struggle using them, but he's not on haste, so they'll be moving slowly, but they'll be making good use of their energy. Especially when he's got these air units running around and he's running off one power plant by the looks of it. I think Haako is going to struggle with power throughout this game. Unless he finds a safer source of energy, which would be this one. Anyway, let's see what these tanks are going to be doing. So, Metalcalous can see these tanks coming in now. To be fair, using C units, the anti-air C unit in this area is not actually a bad idea. There isn't really much use to have this sea place, this lake. So it's not likely Haako is going to challenge him for the lake. But the air units are going to try and come through, and he's going to try and block him with his C units, so it's quite good that he's chosen those. Personally, I think these tanks should rush through. To try and use them for the advantage, try and take out the airfield or something. Not that you can see that. So he might be worried about a defense more than scouting. But I don't see tanks that often, but he is running out of energy. You hear the warning sign. And those helicopters, if they're not dealt with, are going to tear up these tanks. Yep, they're stuck now, and Metalcalous can see that. If he sees the smoke coming up, he knows Haako is running out of energy. How's Metalcalous doing with that? His energy is not being used up too much. He does have energy production. He only needs 1 right now, and that is sufficient for him. And he has a little strike force going this way. And it's blocked by Shroud. He can't see it very well. He's only just started to notice it. Those helicopters should be called down if he can spot it. Oh wait, he can't anyway, he's got no energy. Haako's in a tight spot right now. Definitely going to be struggling. His eco should be doing well, but he is struggling with his energy. He's building another power plant up here in the mountains. So that'll stealth the power plant there. But that airfield's going down. And there's a helicopter on it, I think, so that's going to get blown up too. Oh, he's moving it. He didn't move it quick enough. It needs to get all the way up in the air, I think, to make it safe from that. Also, if you're a casual viewer to the channel watching Line Wars with me, then feel free to subscribe. I'm very close to a milestone I'd like to achieve by the end of the week. Thank you very much. Looks like Haako is building up quite a nice diverse army. But he's running out of his energy and it's stopping him quite badly at the minute. But he is trying to solve it. Again, he's put this in the forest here, and that will give it stealth so that the enemy might not be able to see it. But Metalcalous can see it from here. He got lucky as he passed through it by the seams of it. Metalcalous is bringing up units from the north up here, towards the tanks. Probably not the best of ideas. He knows he's got bad energy, so you could easily just walk round them. And he's still trying to bring these units across, which seems to be quite successful right now. It's taken over the land now, down at the bottom. Oh no, he's going to actually get that power plant, I think. That's going to be a close one. He got it. Oh, that's so unfortunate. It looks like Haako just took out his units 1 second too late. But he has the power plant up here now, that's done. So he's not out of energy. But he is still surviving on just half the usual energy from one of these wells. And that tank is struggling to get into that position just there. I can hear commandos. Ah, it's Haako using commandos. So commandos are stealthed, so you can't really see them unless they're attacking or unless you have a cumulative vision. Vision from multiple units. Now he's setting up a sneaky defensive line in the trees over here. Can Haako see that? He cannot. So there's units here digging in to create a defensive line. And Haako can't see it. They're going to disappear, there you go. That's how stealth works there. They go into the forest, they disappear. So Haako has no idea how many units are there, he just knows some are because he saw them go in. Looks like Haako is still trying to expand. It's been a bit slower because it looks like he's spread out his units quite a bit without having to back them up. Without the ability to back them up. But he's trying to expand to the bottom, so he wants to put pressure on the bottom while Metalcalous is putting pressure at the top. Which is definitely a good idea. Need to find weak points. But Haako's economy is doing pretty good at the minute. It's got a total income of 800. What about Metalcalous? Metalcalous is a bit behind, and that's probably because of the territories. The Haako would probably be a lot more ahead of him if Metalcalous's attacks had been a bit less pressure at the beginning. So applying that pressure early on really slowed down Haako. And Metalcalous is also using commandos down at the bottom there. So Haako can only see that there's 2 commandos. Wow, there's 1 commando. There you go, they're all gone. I can't tell anymore. A bit of mix of infantry and stuff. Yes, there's infantry there, but there's 4 commandos, maybe? 2 infantry. So he was doing covert operations there to take out those enemies. And SAM units aren't actually too bad at taking out infantry. They're still not very good at it. But they do have the ability to do so. It looks like Haako has noticed his defensive line in the forest. And defense is not very strong against air units. Because most of the time you don't want to put your SAM on the front line. So you'd have them hanging back. But it doesn't look like Metalcalous has any SAM at the back there. Might be a good idea to swing these guys around into this area. I don't know if he does, but that would be something I'd try and do if I remembered at the time. It's not easy to actually do this in the middle of the battle. Looks like Haako wants to push on through, see what he can find. But that's just in the north. What's going on in the south? Nothing from Haako. Haako has forgotten about the south by the looks of it. And Metalcalous is expanding through. He's gaining back his advantage in the territory by taking advantage at the bottom. Those tanks are coming through. Metalcalous can see the tanks coming in. He sent his anti-air up here, and that's probably to catch these out, try and get some damage in on them as they go past. Any extra damage to tanks as they're travelling to your base is definitely a good idea. But with this defensive line being taken out by these, if he hasn't got SAM in the area, you'd probably just want to move them. Otherwise you're just going to take damage for no reason. What's Haako doing with that line? It's a blue line, and on haste, so they're going to use more energy for that. But they're not going to stop to attack, they're just going to drive through and attack on the way as they're driving to their objective. The blue line means the objective is a higher priority than actually attacking. There doesn't seem to be too much going on over here, but Haako has expanded at the bottom down further west, so he may be able to fend off Metalcalous as he gets there, because he is expanding down at the south as well. Oh, in fact, he's actually got some commandos taking out his energy supply again. This is a key thing to do when your opponent is using tanks and air units a lot. Taking out the energy supply will give you a massive advantage. But it looks like Metalcalous is actually having an issue with energy right now. But he probably should land these air units. There we go, they're going back. This one transport ship is doing a lot of damage, isn't it? Just transporting the units across. It looks like both enemies have come to a stalemate. Except for at the bottom. We've got a bit more activity going on. He has managed to take that out. What's Haako seeing? Nothing. You can't see any commandos there at the minute. So you can hear the commandos right now. But you can't see it, which is probably really annoying Haako, because you move away, this is literally the only way you can find them. By moving your actual computer screen. Your camera screen, sorry. Haako has rebuilt some tanks. He's sending them down here. He can cut off the expanse of Metalcalous, and I think that's what his plan is. He knows Metalcalous is coming through at the bottom there. He is sending some lines this way, but I don't think he's got the production to keep up with it. Metalcalous has taken off this standoff there with his air units. He's bombed them, now he's sending his units through. Haako's not going to be able to hold that line there. Looks like Haako's trying to send his air units over here, see if he can maybe get some damage across the water. But Metalcalous has spotted it. And he is bringing his anti-air down a bit. Ah, he's trying to stop the transports. I see. I say transports, it was only one, but it's a very effective one. He's got his defense line in the tree. They're basically literally staring each other down right now. You'd want to pull these back. Any units lost right now in this situation, it's just a waste of units. Pull them back a bit. Then try bring these units around and attack as one. Yep, the anti-air wasn't enough to take on the helicopters. To be fair, helicopters, although being the first unit, are really powerful. Don't underestimate them. And it looks like he is going to invest in trying to control the sea. This lake. There you go, the tanks finally got to the bottom there. I don't know if that's another set, or whether I just forgot about them. And how is Metalcalous doing down there? He's got pretty good vision over all of this. He's got his units spread out across it just so he can see. Might be unintentional, but it is good vision. He can spot these tanks coming in early on. And I don't think tanks will spot that commando. Yeah, they will. Kind of. Every now and then. Oh, his helicopters are being taken out by strikers. So strikers, although they're not anti-air units, they do have an anti-air gun on them. So they can do damage to air units. Metalcalous is bringing his forces together there. See, if he's got his units coming down here, he should probably break away this tree line here. Because he just wants as many units to push through now as possible. Those tanks are making their way across the bottom of the map. Can Metalcalous see that now? Yes, he can. What's he going to do about it? He's sending his own tanks down there. Not a bad idea. I suppose tanks beat tanks. So Metalcalous' focus is probably up here against this army up there. But they're trying to manage both the attacks down here, where the tanks are trying to sneak through. So he's sending tanks down here to manage that. He's trying to focus on expanding. And at the same time, not let Haako get the advantage in the top. He has spotted the sub-pen, which is strange because they have stealth as well, the sub-pen. So it must be the accumulative vision of the army up here that's allowed him to see that. So Haako's in the mountain. That does give a defensive bonus if they're defending. I can't tell if that is. Let's check it out. It's not a defensive line, so I don't think it's going to count. But it does count as stealth bonus. It looks like Metalcalous has got his units lining up, and Haako has spotted that and is going to take advantage of the lack of anti-air in the area. tanks are hiding in the forest, waiting to surprise attack something that comes through. These helicopters are on the ground, and Metalcalous might actually be able to take them out. But Haako is again running out of energy. Sorry about that. Metalcalous must have rebuilt his transport, because that was destroyed by the helicopters earlier on. But the submarines are going to take him out this time. Has Metalcalous got one, or has he got two? He's got two now. And that naval yard is not building destroyers at all. Which is probably something I'd have done if I had spotted this. But it's just something you might forget in the middle of a battle. So yeah, this army against this, it might do it, but I'd rather have these units there as well. I mean, Haako already knows about this line here. He was attacking it with helicopters earlier, so he may as well send them into the force too. It looks like those tanks have either moved or were taken out by these tanks. Or are they still in the forest? Nope, they're definitely not in the forest still. Haako's trying to take out this area up here. He's sectioned a group off who were trying to sneak around the edges. And he had to take that out because that's one of his power plants just there. Where is his energy coming from now? He's rebuilding this one that was lost earlier. He doesn't seem to have any other where else. Oh, he's got some there. And storage. That's what I'm seeing. So Haako's going to take out that sub now. Not sub, with his sub. There you go. And those strikers are coming in. One of their targets. They're just circling. They're going to take out units, power and everything there if they can. If they're allowed to do that. But the same's happening up here. The helicopters are unchallenged against these units down here. But then on the ground, Haako is struggling against Metalcalous' forces. But that's unfortunate. And that's not a power plant, that's an energy well. Oh, he got it. That SAM unit on his own there, just fending them off. Actually, I think there might be more there. Yeah, there's 4. I do think it's quite cool that he does set up a backup defense line just in case it doesn't go through. But other than these helicopters, which he should probably add some SAM up here to help with the anti-air, or at least if he didn't have this to worry about, have his anti-air units from the sea coming across and help. But if he had this force to it as well, and that, he might have been able to overrun him here. Is there anything else going on? Yes, these tanks coming through at the bottom, supported by strikers. Can Haako see that? He can. And he's trying to deal with it with what little he has. But he does have a helicopter, which is pretty much unchallenged here, but the strikers will take out the helicopter. There is more than enough of them. Oh, that was there earlier again. It looks like it's been destroyed. Metalcalous take it out and run away? No, he's just taken it out and he's going for it. So Metalcalous has a couple of commandos snuck up here, which Haako may be able to have noticed, but it doesn't look like he has. It's just white now, he can't see anything. It's doing alright. And up here it looks like Metalcalous lost his army. Most of it anyway, probably to the helicopters. And then the ranged artilleries for the rest of the units. So Haako's doing an amazing job at defending this. He's starting to work on his eco, building up this town here. The tanks are coming in, trying to take out the economy at the same time. He's bringing his helicopters down to deal with these tanks. But they're going to do a lot of damage. They've been left to their own devices for far too long there. And the strikers are coming in over here, which, although the energy is very important, he's going to lose his strikers to do it. There's 2 down. Is he going to get another one? He's sending a big force of units up there. Where are they? Oh, it just looked bigger than it was. It's building up more tanks though. He did take out this energy well. Good job. He's doing the name of the game here. He's setting up his lines. He still has some targets out there. Probably just forgotten about them. But it looks like those tanks were destroyed by the helicopters. They've probably managed to get that barracks down here. But there is still no anti-air in this Blues army up here, which is Metalcalous army. Which does surprise me. He's had a long time to fight these helicopters on the ground. He should have built something like interceptors, which is that an interceptor? No, that's a striker. Ah, there you go. Here's a SAM unit. Maybe they've just been destroyed every time I come checking, but there's a SAM unit there now. He is adapting to the change. Haako doesn't seem to have much control over the south of the map anymore. If anything, he might be losing the territory. And taking a lot of territory like this will change the game because of the economy boost you'll get from it. Because not only are you gaining from taking these territories, your enemy is losing territory now. He's built a strip in the forest to keep it stealthed, so I don't think Haako will be able to see that. No, he can't, but I find airstrips are a bit pointless to hide in forests. It can be great as a surprise attack, but like, you can still see where they go to land and take off, so you can see they're coming out of this forest. It just makes it a little harder to attack, but as a player you can usually spot it pretty well. Haako is pushing forward a little bit as much as he can. Helicopters taking out this defense line again. What is Haako's response going to be? Because he's been doing the same thing really as well. But his defense has been pretty successful. He's now pushing back a bit. But it looks like Metalcalous is taking advantage of the south, getting a bit of an eco boost. He's probably been increasing his production up here. Or he's been increasing it somewhere. He's got units going through there. Don't know how well that's going to go. It looks like Metalcalous is going to have to defend in the south as well soon. That's the lay of the land as it stands. And Metalcalous has even taken some land over here. Metalcalous is really harassing the enemy, whether he's winning or losing. Let's check out his line here, because this looks ineffective. He's sending a line straight through the middle, which kind of works. But I'd only be doing it with the artillery if I had defense against the helicopters. Especially here. If you sent artillery here, they'd take out the front line and then retreat. That wouldn't be a bad scenario. But they are pretty much at a stalemate, but I think Metalcalous' economy is growing. But Haako is making progress at adapting to Metalcalous' unit composition. Ooh, my favourite thing in the game. This is how Haako is going to respond to Metalcalous. This is a choke point. It's a pretty big one, so launching a nuke in anywhere of this area would be highly effective if you catch all of his units there. And Haako is focusing a lot on here, trying to take out the units that keep coming through on the south. But is that rocket going to be a little, or too little, too late? Because Metalcalous is breaking through in the top here. And he's catching this defensive line at the side, which means it doesn't get us defensive bonus at the side, only at the front. Or at least that's how I think it works. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. But I'm pretty sure if you hit them at the side, there's no defensive bonus. It's just where the sandbags are. Ooh, he's got tanks coming in. How many? It's 8 tanks. How is he using those? Ah, he's got a haste command. He's going around his units, trying to go at the back of them. And then he's going to try and sneak through and take out some of the infrastructure. He's taken 2 off in a different direction. That's probably try and help confuse the helicopters, make them go in different places. Or just to scout and see what's out there. But those tanks are going to plough a line for his artillery to go through after as well. What's Haako going to do about this? So his nuke down here is stealthed. And it's in the forest, that's extra stealth. So I don't even know if Metalcalous is going to spot that. Is that town going to survive? There's only 1 tank going this way now. He's just having a good look at Haako's base, I think. Doing as much damage as he can, but over spread out distance. That tank's gone down. He's only got these at the town. The town is down as well now. And these tanks are going to push on through to the artillery, take out some of the units. Maybe even some more structures. What is Haako seeing? Haako is building up some cash, but that needs to hit 500 before he spends it on a rocket. So that is slowing him down as well, but it is going up. We shouldn't have a problem getting that rocket. It's just time. There doesn't seem to be too much going on, nothing unusual other than up here where the tanks have pushed through, allowing the rest of his army to push through with it. It looks like Metalcalous is specifically targeting the economy. Those tanks got taken out. There's just 1 left down here now, but this army is going to follow through. Straight through all of these units and the infrastructure. I don't know if this tank was intentionally meant to go that way, or if it was just a line left there before. Because he's leaving himself vulnerable to an attack from pretty much anything. He wants to take out this sub-pen. By the looks of it, Metalcalous doesn't have control over this water anymore. He does have a naval yard, but no sea units. And does Haako have any subs left? He has 2, which Metalcalous cannot see. Haako sent his helicopters this way. He's not too bothered by this, by the seams of it. He's going to try and get his artillery to curve around him, which will give him an advantage defense. Just that curve, because the line of sight, or range of the units, all sort of join at 1. Oh, we do have another battle going on here. Right in the south, Haako is trying to take the fight to Metalcalous, potentially to distract him, or to take his attention somewhere else. Maybe his units, pull his units back. But Metalcalous is also attacking at the other side of the south. And Haako has spotted his structures that he tried to place behind the base to attack at a later date. I've seen that used quite a lot. I used to enjoy doing that tactic. So the way these are, this little curve here is something you definitely don't want to happen. You want to pull these units back and try again. It looked very successful at first, but artillery take very good advantage of a concave line. And I don't think Metalcalous, even with potentially higher numbers in this little area, I don't think he's going to win that. What's happening down here? It looks like Haako is winning in the south offensively, and he is defending very well here. That rocket is nearly ready. About 70% done, maybe? And Metalcalous is bringing more units across that water. But they will be stopped by Haako's subs. Northern Army is being supported by air units now as well. This force of artillery, I don't know if Metalcalous has a response for this right now. Oh, he does know about it. He's setting up a line in the forest that he's probably going to try and send forward later. Wow, when there's less range. Commando's been spotted there. These units have been left to just drain in through the middle there. This is not a good situation here. They're just walking or driving to their death. There you go, Metalcalous has noticed, he's pulling them back. And once again, we find ourselves in a bit of a stalemate. We have an attack in the south, which is doing well for Haako. Doesn't look like Metalcalous has much of a response other than the infantry push, which he's done pretty well there. That might do some damage, but that's not going to take it out. It's not going to be enough. But he's building up some artillery here to take him out later, I think. He's still trying to bring in some units from over there. Oh, I missed the nuke. It looks like Haako fired his nuke and I missed it. Can't believe that. But it's still built. Has he got two? Or is that just damage? Oh, it's just, I think it might just be this. Where it's been damaged heavily in one section. The artillery themselves called a nuke crater. So he's saving this nuke and it's ready now and he's got a lot of energy. Haako certainly doesn't have a problem with energy at this point in the game. And he's pushed down here as well. He got attacked here earlier and now he's pushing back. So Haako is going on the offensive in mainly 3 locations, but it looks like he lost his artillery here. What was that to? And the rocket's gone off. I'm glad I caught it this time. Not that I actually missed it before, but you get what I mean. So now Haako is probably going to try and push through that. Yes, he is. He's bringing his units straight through. I probably wouldn't send him up that high. I'd probably just go straight across. Also, I wouldn't have these capture flags on. I'd have that as a second wave. So I want my units to get out there as fast as possible. And have the capture lines ready afterwards. Especially after a nuke, you want your units to get in that area as soon as possible. So there must be something in that forest now. Oh, he managed to take out those artillery mostly with the infantry. He's got some tanks coming down the south as well, so I think Haako's going to get pushed back again. His helicopters are taking stuff out there, so he must have an airfield somewhere in that area. Or not. They're just flying really far away. Fair enough. So, he's doing really well. Haako is really trying to put up a defense, and this area has been... I'm surprised grass can even grow here anymore. Yeah, he's spreading out his units to go both ways. Which is probably what I'd do, but I think people have told me that I shouldn't do that as much either. spreads out your units a bit too thin, but I think Haako can do that right now. Yeah. Is Metalcalous taking this structure there? Or the territory on it? Yes, and he can't see the power planks stealthed. He is stood right next to a key structure that he wants to get rid of. And he doesn't even know about it. Another thing that surprises me is Metalcalous hasn't taken advantage of his city. I don't think he's actually taken advantage of any of these throughout the entire game. I could be wrong, maybe they were destroyed later on, but I just can't remember. It looks like Metalcalous is trying to get these tanks to go on a long journey that way. Try and get some units back in this area. And get his artillery to go up here. Whereas in the north, he's trying to set up more of a defense curve as well. But he's trying to push through it. So yeah, Haako nearly has this nuke ready again. I find most of these stalemate games are won by the person who can fire and maintain the most nukes. Haako needs to bring these SAM units a bit further in. He's doing it. He's done it just as I was saying it. But it also might be exposing to these artillery there, but they should be fine. Should be able to destroy them before that becomes a problem. The rocket is on its way again. Where's it going this time? Because I don't know if I'd fire it over here. It's quite... Might get the planes. He's just trying to get the structures, I think. Get rid of his production. Those artillery are doing great. The SAM there are staying back to try and catch these strikers as they go over, which they will do. The strikers have switched targets to the SAM because the AI does recognise the threat first, which is actually quite smart. Does look like Metalcalous has control over the south again. But those tanks are going to get shot down by those helicopters. They don't stand a chance right now. Are they going to turn around? They are turning around. That one tank gets through. But he still has to get through here. Battlefield up here is going in favour of Haako. As Metalcalous just pours his units through into the slaughter. See, he needs to take these lines off because they're just walking into the artillery one at a time. He needs to pull them back and go back in with a bigger force. Uses air units a lot more, which he's doing really well. But the SAM, Haako is just managing slight changes and it's making a good effect on it. It's got a, is that a destroyer that's coming in to take out that? Has he taken out all the submarines in that area? He has. So Metalcalous has taken out the submarines in this lake to take it back, and Haako is trying to take it back with some transports. I assume since he had control, that's what he thought to do. These guys are just dead, so that defense line is no more. Haako has control of this area because of that nuke, I think. And he's going to have another one built soon. Who's got control there? Metalcalous is still firing from range. And over here, Haako has taken back control. The only problem is, does Metalcalous have any production over here? A little bit. But he can't see Hako's structure over there. So Haako is still producing stuff and taking the territory back. Rocket is nearly done again. See, with that rocket, I'd try and judge where these guys are coming from. So I'd say that's about here. I can't remember. Let's have a look. Yeah, I was right about there. I said about here, I think. So I was close enough. I think I'd have destroyed that with a rocket there. So Metalcalous is struggling again. He's been pushed back even further. But his economy is actually doing alright. Let's have a look at Haako's. Haako definitely has a higher economy. Yeah, by about 300 per minute. And that makes a big difference over time. And that's because Haako was managing to take back control over his area down in the south. Pushing back Metalcalous, taking economy from him. Oh, the nuke went down south this time. Not a bad decision, to be honest. There you go, should be able to push through now. Can't see what's in that hills because of the stealth, but there you go. So yeah, Haako should be able to take down the south as well. Pretty much has control here. There's an airfield over here from Metalcalous that Haako's going to have to take out. It's there. Got another rocket on the way. He is not stopping with those rockets. Metalcalous is constantly being pushed back and back now. And this was the key location Metalcalous had the advantage in earlier on. The artillery is going to take out that front line. So you should always have artillery at the front, in my opinion. And then sand just behind, and the infantry, you should hold back and push them through after. When these start attacking, you push them through. You force them to run away, or take fire from artillery and your infantry. But I rarely find infantry in defense actually effective. Maybe if you start right next to each other. I hear a rocket, I think. Nope, I'm hearing things. So the artillery here are unstoppable at the minute. They're just going to plow through. It's got too many firing at one time. Those strikers are doing effective damage against... no, the SAM are doing effective damage against the strikers. Metalcalous is forced to pull away. It looks like transports are still getting across from both sides now soon. Haako is still taking over down here. Metalcalous keeps pushing him back. 3 choke points really that just keep getting pushed to and from. If this lake wasn't here, this would have been a completely different fight. So he's bringing his tanks up here ready to push through. Haako can see them already. See it from Metalcalous through. Metalcalous is struggling on protection for his aircraft as well. Got to keep up with the losses. That defensive line is gone now already. So looks like Haako is about to win this match, judging by the length of the game. We are close to the end. And judging by the way it is right now, it looks like Metalcalous is about to lose. And he did really well at the beginning of this game. That rocket is ready once again. I think it was the rocket that saved Haako in this. Let me know what you think. Do you think Haako could have won without that rocket? If so, how? Anyway, there are 2 videos on screen right now. If you'd like to take a look at them, I'll see you there. If not, feel free to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.